Okay, thank you. So let's get started. Good morning. This is 11:45 and eighth lecture of BDA. I'm going to share the screen now. So please pin the screen if it's not pinned already. So today we have these topics. This is the eighth lecture and I have planned for these topics. So what you are seeing on the screen, Apache Maven, understanding Terra short, importance of right question, which I already covered in the previous. We will have case study for HBase, which is a distributed database. Okay, let's see what can we achieve. So let's get started. Apache Maven, we discussed that yesterday in the lab, right? Now you guys might want to install Maven for command line. Okay, learn how to install. Fine, from of course Maven Apache org, right? Yeah, so you may download and install however based on your platform. Okay, many times it is also bundled with some or other IDEs, so you might not need to separately install it. But if you may want command line, which I have it on my computer here, right, what you are seeing, let me, I'm just running MVN command. MVN acronym for MAVEN, or just command form of MAVEN, Maven. So Maven, what is it? Maven is actually a build tool. Originally it was just a build tool, but it has grown to a project management and comprehension tool. Okay, so Apache Maven is a software project management and comprehension tool. And based on the concept of project object model, remember I told you yesterday, POM, Maven can manage projects build, reporting and documentation from a centerpiece of information, right? Let me also tell you something called test-driven development. How many of you are aware of this, TDD? Okay, so test-driven development, you should actually be aware of. Okay, learn about it. Right. So you might have heard about something called JUnit, which is a framework for supporting test-driven development. But be aware what is test-driven development. While you develop, you also develop test cases. Okay. So I have this program here with me, and it's from some third party only. I would open that up. Maybe I'll show you command line first. Okay, so I have this demo program, Maven demo Java application. You might have it. I may dump it in today's lecture also. Okay, so what is the content of this folder? So basically it has the Java source code. Okay, and normally you do some folder structure, right? So for Maven, actually the folder structure is a little bit predefined. If you may want to change the folder structure, you may want to write something in manifest or FM. Otherwise, it is build classes com example. I mean, this example is going to be the name of package. Based on the name of package, this internal hierarchy will be created. But then when you do compilation or when you build using Maven, it will generate the .class files in this particular structure. Okay, and yeah, so you will actually have this meta-inf kind of folder, okay, and in which you will have to provide properties file with key value like information, and project object model.xml, which is where you will write the dependency, the modules what you might need from web. So it will automatically fetch those dependency list and libraries from the web. So many times when you are dealing with Maven based projects, it is advised to be connected with internet, because it when you compile, it actually fetches the dependent libraries from the web. Okay, So I repeat, when you are normally, when you're using Maven, you are advised to have internet because it requires to fetch the library from the web. There is a workaround. One time you have internet, next time onward you may not have internet. You may actually have a local repositories of those libraries. There are, a few steps to do so. But otherwise, you will be connected with internet when you do Maven-based, building and development. Okay. So the way you will have SRC and the package name wise, you will have the Java source code programs wherever you want to write. Okay. And there is a test framework, as I said, test-driven development. So you write some program, for example, greetings.java or greeter.java, and corresponding to that, you write, greeter test.java. So this program is the actual development of the requirement, the functional requirement, but this is kind of, testing that functional requirement. So this is kind of, gonna have test cases required for this particular class. Okay. And we'll see quickly the example for, see, greeter.java, what is it? Let's just see, I mean, VISRC, what is it? Main Java greeter com example greeter.java, right? So let's say it is just returning this particular message, which is hello, test-driven development, and with this message like test-driven development. So this is the actual functionality, for example. Now I would have also I will also have SRC main, SRC test Java com example and greeter test.java, where I would actually use the JUnit framework of Java to do test-driven development. And what am I saying? Test that greeter say hello. This is, say hello. So test it. How do you test it? I want to make the assertion that this is okay. Check which one is what. So one of this is the expected output, and one of this is okay, one of this is going to be message. I kind of forgot, but one of this is, for example, expected output. Okay, let's say yeah, this is the expected output, and by which function call? By greeter.sayHello. So what am I telling here? That make an assertion that when I call say hello function, I am getting this output. If that say hello function gives me this output, then this assertion will pass. Otherwise, it will fail. Okay. So that's called test-driven development. So right now, as we see this particular source code, it actually is having the same message. What I may look for is the same exact message, right? So if I may go ahead and do compilation and test-driven build, which is MVN, where am I? PWD. If I may see the content, I'm already having this class file and all. That means I already done. So I will first do cleanup. MVN clean. That is gonna remove that directory and all. I may now say tree, and you see there is no .class file directory structure. Okay. Now I may actually say MVN. There are phases. Okay. Please learn about it. Actually, I should have done the MVN help. Let me, okay, here is showing you. It's called goal, okay, GOLAL goal. Which all goal are available? So there are so many, okay. So learn about them all. I may not be able to teach you all these things, okay. But there are so many goals, valid goals, and out of them we already used clean, CLEAN clean, right? Now I already told you the install part, which is maybe for offline library available and repository creation. I think deploy is also gonna create a var or EAR file, provided you have we may test deploy here. Okay, but before that there is something called compile. Okay, so sometimes people say Maven build, the word build, but actually the command is compile. So if I may say Maven and build, it may complain me saying I don't know what is BUILD, because that's not a valid goal. Okay, so don't say Maven build. In GUI, actually in Eclipse GUI, which we'll see in a moment, okay, there the label is build. but know that build and compile is the same thing, and at least command prompt you have to write compile, not build. So we will just say compile, okay, and what is expected, it will compile the Java files and generate the class files if everything is successful, okay. And know that there is a difference between compile and deploy. Deploy will actually generate few more directory structure, we will see, okay. It will actually generate a war file or EAR file, which we'll see quickly, okay. So now I just have compiled my all Java classes, right, I mean Java programs, right. Now there is nothing like run, okay. So if I may just see, do I have anything called run? See, if you may find, there is no run as such. Okay, there is no run as such. The reason being, Maven supports, and promotes actually test-driven development. So I will manually not run and check the input versus output. I mean, I will not manually verify the expected output and the actual output. I'll, do the test-driven development where I'll say MV and test. Now what happens? It is gonna, actually it runs multiple aims needed before test. Okay, so it then does what? It says, the one test was run and there were no failures. Okay. The reason being, the expected output is same as the actual output by this particular function. Okay, is that understood? Test-driven development. I will still tell you more, but there is success. I mean, the test passed. Okay, so imagine now I will go and change the output of this. So let's say, this was the requirement, and instead of hello, I missed the word hello, for example, while developing. That means there is a bug. Okay. So I save this program. Oops. What's going on? Ah. Oh. What's going on? Okay. Hopefully I saved it. Let's just yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I did save it, okay. Fine. So I'll do what? MVN clean, okay. Fine. So if I may check, there are no class files, right? Now if I may say MVN compile, will there be any syntax errors? Then the answer is no. There is no syntax errors. There are no syntax errors, right? So I'm good. I have class files also, right? So next is, how about MV and test? What will happen? So it's saying, the test, one of the tests failed, and it's actually saying me that the expected output was hello, while I got only, ELLO. So this is, gonna tell me that development having a bug. So I will have to then, go ahead and apply the correct logic, okay. And then if I may now say MV and test, know that it does clean up and compile before running the test. So I don't need to do MV and clean compile every time. It does internally, and there's a smart build involved here. You may explore something called Makefile, okay, Makefile. That's the very old concept by Linux and the open source community. It has smartness. So let's say you are working with 200 plus source files and you are making change in one of the file. Should you compile and build, and aggregate, generate EAR, etc. of each and every source files, like packaging and all? Then the answer is no. Okay, smart compile, build, packaging, and deployment is possible, and the base was Makefile. Nowadays you might know very other automated stuff, right, to build and deploy and all, but know that all of those are actually having base to Makefile, Makefile. Anyways, so So now, as I did, taste is actually passing, and this is the complete demo of Maven to start with. Of course, there are technical few things I'm not describing a lot because this is not the class for teaching you Maven. But why this is a part of today's lecture? Because many of these Apache community softwares, including Spark, and HBase, and when you want to develop with Hadoop, you may want to do Eclipse use, and you may want to have projects where Maven based build will help you a lot, because it actually supports taste driven development as well as the dependency of libraries. You will not have to provide class paths of libraries and all. You just have to enter, you have to actually do this, which is what in project object model.xml file. You have to make dependencies. See, let's say I want to utilize JUnit, then you have to find out from the web. There is official link also, like what is the group ID and artifact ID of JUnit and what is the latest version. Okay, when you make this entry, then it will automatically fetch those libraries for you for your project. Okay, so this way dependencies are automatically managed with build tools. Okay, build and its corresponding package of tools. Fine. So learn about it. Now I told you, right, one command which actually will create the jar file, or jar er or var, depending on which project style yours. So based on this, it will create the name of the file. Okay, so let's just go out, and then if I may just say mvn and what deploy, clean, build, clean, then compile, then taste, then install is one thing, deploy is another. Okay, and what's going on? So okay, let's check install. Okay, yeah, so basically it generated the jar file what I was talking about, right? Because this is Java, hello world kind of program. It's actually just Java archive, not the like enterprise archive because of EJBs, or not like var, because it's not web app. Okay, so mvn install actually, if I may do tree now, you may see the jar file created at this particular location in the target folder. Okay, and there are many more things out there you may explore as per your understanding. Fine. But then you can then share this jar file with others, or you may utilize it in some other project if you may want, right? So that was what mvn install. Okay, and mvn deploy is about having the local repository. I might have to have more information about local repository. I have worked on it in the past, but right now on this system it might not be configured appropriately. That's when that deploy is failing. Okay, fine. So this is Maven command line. Now the same exact thing, let me just do mvn clean. Okay, and if I may just show you tree, is just having the taste program and the Java program, a manifest file, and maybe a pom.xml file. Okay, so now the same program I am opening in Eclipse, and in between let me confirm that we are connected and you are able to hear me. Guys, are you able to hear me? Okay, Devang, Rahil, thank you. Fine. So I'm switching to Eclipse, whichever Eclipse it might be. Okay, 2019 some version, right? But then I have actually done this. Okay, the zip file which I have shared with you, or I'm gonna share with you about the demo, that I have extracted, and I have done this open projects from file system. Okay, then I'll go to it. Okay, and then I will be here and then say open. So that is how this particular project is gonna be available. So now I will open that project. Okay, now it's the same location. Okay, it's the same program. So now let me tell you one thing. When you see this red cross mark, it need not to have, there are two separate engines working behind the scene. Okay, sometimes depending upon your configuration. So one engine just checks for syntax errors, and another engine takes care of build and all. So it's my experience that whenever you see such errors, there can be, problem of configuration in the Eclipse with the engines, as I told. Need not to be the error in the actual program, okay? And it's my experience I'm sharing with you. So don't just blindly go behind these errors. Of course, you can fix this via fixing some configurations, okay? But right now, there's no error in this program. And what am I going to do? I'm actually going to do build, which is C. Now, you see here the menu items, Maven clean, right? And it's doing it. And cleaning, what does it do? It deletes, so and so classes folder, right? So if I may just want to show it here also, just, tree, there is the same, right? But then if I may say Maven build actually internally runs the command compile, okay? Be aware of that, okay? And it's gonna do all the good things. And if I may just check, it has actually done this class files for me, okay? Yeah. So then if I may do Maven test, it's gonna do the same exact thing. So know that though it is, Eclipse in front end, behind the scene it is using that command line utilities, okay? So you need to know, being, software engineer, you need to be aware what all tools are used and how they are used. So it's the same damn thing, okay? So the same thing, if I may go change, this guy here with something else, right? And then if I may just say Maven test, I know it's gonna fail, right? Fail to execute the goal, right? I mean, the testing failed, and what is the problem? Yeah, so does not match the expected package. Oh, what did I say? Okay, so greener test, so one failure here, fine, one failure. And what is the failure? Did I do compile and all? I must not be doing it. So this is actually a separate error though. Let's just clean it up, okay? Because I'm doing two, CLI as well as GUI, and there are, actually it was Maven test, right? So let's just say Maven build once, okay? So I think we tested it, right? This way, and then Maven test, okay? One failure, what you see here, and I'm actually looking for those text, but I don't know, maybe this is not showing that text. But there is, there is a failure. It is running the greater test, okay? And there is a failure. That failure is because of expected versus the actual is different. But is it showing up here or no? I'm not certain why it's not showing up here, okay? So this is one more thing. As I say, Eclipse might be using the Maven bundled with Eclipse, and that might have a separate version. That may be the reason the outcome is a little different, okay? But if I may go and, just undo this, what was that? This? Oh, I just, did I change this only? That is actually a description, I think. This is maybe the, yeah, so that's when there's no failure as such. Yeah, this is what I was supposed to change. This is, the second argument is the expected one, okay? So I'm sorry about that. Let's just do clean. Where is it? Yeah, this time it will fail. Clean, and actually, as I say, you can directly do test, which will do build also. But please confirm that, if some settings are improper, it may not do that. So there is one failure, and it's saying, expected hello, but, somehow is something different, okay? Anyways, so let me just correct it. Can I correct it? Yeah, right. So then it will be Maven test, and so did I save it? This also will be automatic. I mean, many times there is a catch. I have to be careful. What am I doing? Maven test. Yeah, no failure. This is fine, no failure. Okay, fine. Anyways, I'll stop here. This was, you know, just so that you become little bit stronger with programming, build and all, which is must to start your career, right? Learn about test-driven development if you don't know that already. Okay. Uh, Fine. So anybody has any question? I believe that is very quick about Maven and test-driven development. Okay. I hope that will help you someday. Okay. Driven, is that correct? Development. TDD. Okay. Fine. We'll move on to the next topic in the row, which is okay. Whew. Understanding data sort. Let me just open this. Okay. So let me see the timing. I keep forgetting. 12:40, is that when I should stop? Okay. Fine. So we are actually going to do understanding TerraShort, Hadoop benchmarking. Okay. Now it's not like we'll be doing only, you know, word count and tag a cloud or finding mutual friend, categorizing books. We have started doing those activities with you know, MapReduce programming, Java, right? But there are a lot of more things what you can do. So one of the example here is TerraShort. Anybody has heard this word? I mean, TerraShort in the past? Okay, maybe not. Tera is actually for terabyte. Okay. So let me tell you something about benchmarking. Okay. I have worked on a ROX cluster in the year 2008, I believe, and you know, is to benchmark the supercomputer or the cluster's, you know, capability. Okay, so benchmarking, you know, benchmark yourself, right? You know, benchmarking at least the word, right? So it's not anything new. Okay, from years, people like top 500 supercomputers, for example. So they also will have, you know, benchmarking competition and all. Okay, so they use various packages to do check performance and all, like Linva package and all. Okay, and they come to know the, you know, performances of various system designs and architects, and then you know, accordingly they rank. So this is top 500 you know, supercomputer website. Is this did I click? No, this is okay. Yeah, should maybe this is only the website. Okay, I would not remember on top of my head, but you can go and check it out. Yeah. Yeah. So what I was telling you is about benchmarking. Okay, benchmarking is a common term, and Hadoop, even Hadoop benchmarking. I mean, people will try to see whether Hadoop can achieve the goals or not, or how good the performance is compared to any other, you know, older clustered systems. So then, what is the example they will try at hand? The first is the TerraShort. So it's like, you know, you will have the terabytes of data, maybe 1 terabyte, okay, 1 terabyte of data. Now, data may mean the size of the data, or maybe terabyte of records. Each record may be of, you know, 10 KB or 1 KB. So, I mean, that is a little blur. You may, you know, explore more about it. So, is it like terabyte is the total size of the data, or is it 1 terabyte of records, where the record can be, you know, of any size, I mean, up to certain number. So you just find out that, but otherwise benchmarking is a way to have insight about prototype work success, right? There can be various rubrics, right, matrices, based on which certain benchmarking competition can be hosted. So TerraSort is one of these. So those who want to go in depth, maybe, you know, towards research and all, or you want to challenge yourself with the people who are out there, you know, working on the edge. So you may go in depth of all these links provided to you. I might have written something for you in this document. Okay, so read through it. So TerraShort, it is a distributed short using MapReduce. That's the aim. Okay, so you have these records now, you know, terabyte of data. You might not be able to store on one computer. or let's say terabytes of data you might not be able to store on one computer. Even you might have that much data on one computer, your RAM may not be able to pull that in. So you know sorting technique, right, guys? Let me actually ask you this question, because you know sorting, right, from your third or fourth semester. But do you know external sort algorithm? At least there is something called, you know, external sort, where paging uh, mechanism is in place, and that's widely used in database management system. If you have not, you know, heard this or learned this, please do explore that. So sorting was the original thing. We know, you know, sorting of data structure in memory, right? Then when the data grew, actually database management system needed to bring, you know, some technique which was external sort, which actually does virtual, you know, paging, like virtual memory kind of concept. Okay, so that was external sort. Still it was with only one computer, or at least, you know, rack of computer with client server kind of architecture. But then data is still far, you know, more than what external sort was able to, you know, deal with. That's when, you know, distributed sort techniques needed to be talked about, and there are algorithms to achieve this. Not the same exact algorithm will work, no, right? So this TerraSort is actually the competition worldwide, where, you know, distributed sort using MapReduce or any other framework, but the primary goal is, you know, data is across computers. Okay, so okay, I might have recorded this. So we may, you know, touch this topic in the future again, but today we are getting, you know, introduced to this. So in map phase you will have, you know, reader, then map, then partition and combiner phase. So line contains the data, right? A single record is of, for example, 100 bytes binary. Now, you know, the map function takes the input, which is byte offset. Now see, this byte offset, key and value, when you say, is actually so there's something called byte offset. Okay, that becomes the key. uh, See, for a key, you know, you need some kind of identification. So byte offset is one example what MapReduce uses for key. Okay, the byte offset is actually the location from the beginning of that particular data in the block, and it might also have some extra information, not only the block ID but other things also. Okay, so and the output of map, you need the element and blank. Is because it's shorted data, right? So you don't have word count like thing, like where you have frequency and the word. No, it's just the element. But the important thing is the element have to be shorted. That means when you keep it in output files, only the smallest has to be kept first, then the next, then the next, then the next. So those partitioning technique, I mean, needs to play a role here. Okay, and is primarily, you know, more about partitioning and arrangement of those partitions, so that you get the data in shorted manner. That's the idea behind TerraSort. Okay, but this MapReduce framework, you know, is kind of efficient enough, and it is, you know, meeting the expectations with respect to benchmarking. Okay, so do read this. I have, you know, shared with you the required information about TerraSort benchmarking. Okay, there are a lot of other links you may go to. Okay, so those who are interested to, you know, challenge yourself, you may go and refer all these things. But this program is ready available also. But how to, you know, run it, how will you make the data available and all? So that's little bit, you know, next step, because you will need terabyte of data in and, you know, more than one computer possibly. The data terabyte is not a big deal. I mean, they have a generator package which generates the terabyte of data. I mean, all you need is random number of numbers, number of times, right? So there are actually, you know, package to generate those random number of data, number of times, which will be in total, let's say, 1 terabyte of records or 1 terabyte of data size. But then the important thing is when you run, you will need the complete infrastructure as described. Okay, so but then the case study wise, we know what is TerraSort, and of course there is a lot of depth which you may want to go in. Okay, so I hope that was interesting, right? There was something new what you heard about, right? Guys, the idea of this subject is definitely to make you prepared for your interview. Open the horizon, open your thought process, and the width, all the possibilities out there. Okay, and of course, give out all my industry experience. Okay, in terms of this or that. Fine. So we'll move on. Next topic. Any questions so far? So we stop at 12:40. Okay, so we have 20 more minutes, and I think I should be able to cover the next topic properly. Okay. All right. So this importance of right question for right data in general, that topic actually I covered in the previous class, and if you remember, there was a video which I shared, 2-minute video I think, from one of the movie. The movie name was Bajigar. Okay, it's not of your generation's movie, so the movie name was Bajigar. Shah Rukh Khan and Kajal and some other actor and actresses. Okay, but then that was the movie which was actually giving you analogy that you have to have the right question for the right data. So either you switch the question, or you switch the data. Okay, but how how do you know what is wrong, right? So that's what human intelligence, you have to that's what the experience, what brings you at the position. And of course, in this regard, even machine learning can help, right? Because we know data is there, and machine has to learn, and how to make machine learn, that's the next thing, right? So we have already talked about this importance of right question for right data. So now I'll move on to something called HBase, and this is going to be a case study. Sometime even maybe we'll touch it in lab. But why am I taking up this? Because we have learned about NoSQL in categories, right? If you remember, NoSQL categories, the columnar, the key value store, document store, and graph, right? The 4 categories. So one of them is columnar database, right? Columnar database. So that HBase is an example of a columnar database, I told you. And that's actually a distributed database, okay, which is column oriented. So that's when it is advised to take it as a case study. Okay. Now, how will I really install and practice on HBase? And the answer is, it is very similar the way you install Hadoop and practice it. The reason being, Apache has Hadoop, and on top of that, Apache has HBase. So both of these are connected. HBase is actually part of Hadoop ecosystem also. So it should be similar. I just should not have done that. Okay. So you may go to HBase Apache org, okay, and learn more. As I said, how to install. So one way to do so is, so we talked about test-driven development, right? We talked about Maven. Okay. So we are now talking Apache HBase. So what it is the Hadoop database, okay, distributed, scalable, and it's a big data store. Fine. So when you need random real-time read-write access to your big data, you have this choice of HBase. So we'll actually learn more about big data, your HDFS, okay, where HDFS, the MapReduce framework, is actually the reader you can customize. We just seen that in the previous slide, where you can customize in the TerraShort. You remember I told you the phase reader and all, partitioner and all. So you can actually customize your reader, but by default it is sequential, okay? So all the files, their line by line will be read and will be provided to map, and then the outcome of map will be then provided to reduce. That's what we know, right? But then you can tweak it, okay? There are flexibilities. So what I'm saying, this HBase has a design which actually maybe originally, or maybe by trick and tweak to Hadoop MapReduce, is let you randomly access data in real time, read or write. Okay, so that means if you want to change or query something on top of your HDFS, the one solution is HBase. MapReduce cannot do that. Okay, MapReduce is primarily write once, read more kind of logic, while I repeat, write once, read more. So there is a concept here: write more, read once, or read less, whatever you may say, or write many and read few, something like that. Okay, write many times, but oh sorry, write oh I actually messed up. Okay, write one time and read many times is other way around, my bad. So idea is you dump the data into HDFS, but read as many times as you want. The other day we also talked about schema on read, right? So this all go together. Schema on read, that means you don't have schema while you are writing, but when you want to read with separate applications, you can have your own separate schema embedded or imposed on top of the data. Schema on read. So okay, this is wrong. Don't go with write more, read once. Okay, it's the other way around. Write one time, read many times, or write less, read more. Okay. So anyways, analytics is more about reading and doing analysis, unless on the other side transaction oriented, like OLTP, it is like everyday, day to day transactions, where you might need updates also, as well as new entries and all. Okay, anyways, so we'll move on. HBase, we were talking, right? So HBase, when you need random and real-time read write on your HDFS, you don't have right away choice the MapReduce. No, you can then use HBase, because HBase is a distributed database. Okay, I would it's a Hadoop database, a distributed, scalable, and big data store. So yeah, fine. I mean, I think they have also provided a reference of big table. I think I have shared this Google publication with you, right? It is from Sanjay Gemawat and other, and I think it was in the year 2004-6 and all. I have shared this with you. If no, I mean, hopefully it is the same thing. Yeah, it is the same thing. Yeah, I have shared that with you. So read about it. I mean, why somebody might have named big table, I mean big data. Maybe there is a reason, in the year 2006 and prior, Google was working, and their storage system structured was named big table. Maybe that's when big data term might have been coined. We don't know, but I mean you can connect. Okay, so read all these things. Who is Tushar Chandra? Do we know him? Yeah. Yeah, follow this guy. Okay, follow this guy, and follow, actually follow all of them. Okay. Wow. Okay, we'll move to HBase. Fine. So read a lot from here. You can then go download HBase. It's a zip file you may download. Okay, and then you may download zip file. Okay, the latest was in last year sometime. Okay, it's alpha actually. You may so this is little there are actually advanced stuff than HBase. Okay, but it might still be relevant based on your application. So yeah, go about it. You do download the zip file, unzip, and then do the similar XML configurations the way we have done in Hadoop, and then you do start, stop, very similar to that. You say start HBase, stop HBase. I might not have that set up in this current system, but hopefully I will have some documentation which talks about it. So HBase Corner, okay, is column oriented, no SQL support, right? And let me talk about one important concept called column family. Okay, I have 11 minutes and I definitely want you to learn about this. Guys, how many of you have heard this word column family? and its importance. So that means you're gonna hear the importance of it today. 41 students, and about 110 students are gonna miss this topic, right? They don't know what is column family. I mean, okay, you are in 7th sem, it really doesn't matter, you are in 7th or 70s. I mean, you have to be lifelong learner. If you are not, that's not gonna, help you. So let your classmates, is there any placement going on today? Is there any placement going on today? Okay. uh, no, yes, no, no, because you might not know, right? You fine. uh, okay, so let's talk about column family. Okay, guys, column family, let's understand. So I would maybe open, Google spreadsheet. I don't know, will I be able to do that or not live? Let's just check. Google Sheets, actually. See, what is column family? Let's say I'm gonna have, first name, last name, then, you know, um, so you already know, with respect to database, what was that? Composite key, and composite key is like, composite attributes, composite attributes, right? So maybe together this is, name, for example. Will I be able to explain it this way? Yeah. Together this is just a name. So you know this concept of, what do you say? You know this concept of composite attribute, right? So name is actually composite attribute of first name and last name, for example. So this is, the column family is extension to this topic and concept. Okay. So for example, the relevant data of, your salary has, let's say, salary, then, incentives. Incentives can have actually, bonus, and, some other thing, for example, perks, etc. I mean, incentive does mean perk also. Okay. But then, this is, let's say, earning. I'll just say earnings. Okay. Earnings. Okay. Now, what is happening here is, this whole is just one column family. This whole is just one column family. Okay. Um, and just so that you actually can understand, I'm just doing this all. Okay. Right. I hope that makes sense, right? What I'm planning to talk. So this name, I mean, it can be, yeah, just full name, for example. So this full name is one column family, which has actually family members, first name and last name. And this can be, multiple depth, the way we are seeing here. Earnings has salary component and incentives component. Incentives even has, you know, bonus component, and let's say, bonus and maybe shares, share component. What is it called? Employees also get, dividend or share. I mean, IPOs. I don't know what exactly it's called. I forgot the name. Okay, but what is the purpose? I mean, why the concept of column family is described? So now you have data here. You might have data here. Okay, you might have any data here. So what do you think? How this is helpful? I mean, you might have such, any number of fields where you will have multiple column families pertaining to, the So I actually want to take a screenshot of this. Okay. All right. So how this help? Let me tell you. Okay. When you are actually working to do some analytics on earnings, all this data, provided it is also column storage, all this data will be in the same block. So when you do analytics on earnings, you have the data in the same block, and because it is there in the same block or adjacent blocks, the IO will be efficient. Let me make it clear again why column family is important. In the concepts of columnar databases, they actually nowadays also have concept of column family, and column family means the data which are related, they go under a common column family, and they are placed in the same or adjacent memory blocks, which can be hard disk blocks, and because of which what happens, the analytics become faster. Okay, does it make sense, the column family? Okay, so go in depth. Okay, in this HBase, actually there are ways to create column family and import data and all. I might have provided some example. So how do you start? And so it's very simple, as I said. How do you start HBase? You say start hbase.sh. There is HBase shell, the way you have MongoDB shell and all. You may then run some kind of commands. That is not pure SQL. It's a little different because the column family concept. Okay, so you might have to learn a little bit more to really practice it. But yeah, so I had some example in the past, but I'm not certain. That was from third party, so I may not have shared it completely. Okay, but then at least practice HBase to start, and practice column family a little bit with some example as I might have shown. Okay, so the last topic. Now let me tell you something. I mean, this is my old experience where we needed to have multiple systems, like multiple data stores. For example, Oracle, then PostgreSQL, then Greenplum, and then Apache Solr, and then Informatica. I mean, there are so many data sources, okay, for one or more projects, related projects, okay. And the requirement was when, the live, one of the entry happens in one data store, the same entry should also be happening in the corresponding another data source. So that was the requirement. Now, how do we achieve that? For example, something which is there in Oracle should also be there indexed real time in Apache Solr. Now, how do we achieve that? Then the solution was, most of this stuff, be it HDFS, be it Solr, be it any, they provide APIs. Okay. So for bulk loading or individual loading, they provide APIs. So we will have to then write either Java or the required program to dump the data. So in our Java program, what we will have done is one entry, as soon as you do it in Oracle, the next actually there will be a unit composition block, okay, which will go together as one shot. But then one entry it will do it in Oracle, as well as one entry it will do it in Solr, likewise. Okay, you might think like duplication is not good. Yeah, I agree with you. Because of inconsistencies possible. So there are all challenges. Okay, there are requirements, and we will have to meet the requirements. At that time, we'll have to compromise something, or we'll have to figure out ways around. Fine. So what I was saying, even this HBase and even Hadoop and all, you can also write Java programs to interact to Hadoop HDFS. Whatever we have done on command line, you can also do it in your Java program, like create directories, remove files, and so on and so forth. All you need to learn is the APIs provided. You have to explore those things. Fine. So even HBase will have Java APIs available. I'm not certain this example what I provided here was doing what was the purpose of it at the time. Okay. But maybe it is how do you create table via Java program in Hadoop, and maybe how do you in HBase. So know that the HBase is internally storing the data in your HDFS.
or okay, accessing from the same. Okay, its metadata, where does it store its metadata? So that's a question. Do I remember it correctly? But there can be, options. Maybe the metadata is stored into some other system, possibly IDBMS, like MySQL or Postgre. Okay. Actually, there is a tool which I know. I don't remember which one. But then it stores the metadata into IDBMS and the data into Hadoop, like HDFS. Okay. So those stuff is like such stuff are also possible. I will actually have to recollect that. Maybe Hive does that. Okay, fine. So here HBase maybe originally it stores data as well as metadata both in HDFS. Okay, fine. So with that, I'm stopping here. HBase as Columnar database, and I actually trust the required topics. The APIs, the Columnar family, how to install and how to run. I know I have not done it completely, but believe me, I have done it in the past. It's just that in the class I am not teaching you right now, and you guys have enough input to be able to do this if you practice from heart. Fine. Okay, so that was, I think, the last topic. Yeah, set. Yep, fine for now. Yeah. Okay, so with that, we are concluding our 8 lectures for the sessional 1. Okay, most likely we are going to have MCQ, MSQ based exam, right? You might be communicated on that. Okay, be prepared. Okay, and for MCQ and MSQ based exam. These are the topics from where the questions will be from my section. 18 marks. 18 marks will be from Pinkelman's section. Fine. All the best for your sessional 1. Thank you. You may disconnect now.